शङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः। ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तन्न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः। देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः। ॐ नारायणः परो व्यक्तात् अण्डमव्ययसम्भवम् अण्डस्यान्तस्त्विमे काः सप्तद्वीपा च मेदिनी। कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन मा कर्मफलहेतुर्भुः मा ते सङ्गोऽस्त्वकर्मणि। A very revolutionary statement which somehow we only know from the Bhagavad Gita, and which is without which one keeps on wondering what is the cause of so much sorrow, so much heartache, so much frustration. And what is the cause of that? The cause of all this samsara in the form of heartache, frustration, fear, anxiety, sorrow is because I consider myself to be the author of not only the actions but also the producer of the results of action. So this should come as a great relief. But it doesn't. Why? In fact, the frustration is even more than why am I doing? What is the point? If I am doing and somebody else is deciding what is the result of action, why am I doing? That is exactly my question to you also. Why are you doing? That is really the question here. Why are you taking on what is not your portfolio? Your portfolio is not producing the results of actions. That is not your portfolio. So what is my portfolio? I can act. I can be the agent of action. I can act. Okay. If we really knew the meaning of this statement, that I am not the author of my action, and if seriously we took it, then think about how all of our actions would be revolutionized. We would do only things that would benefit people. And then we would let it go. Okay, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But that's not where we are at. Where are we at? We are at war, not with Iran, but with ourselves and with Ishvara. There is a parallel reality that I make for myself. I make for myself a cocoon like that of the silkworm. First the caterpillar, fat and green, and then it gets fatter and greener because it's keeping on eating all the leaves. It eats as though there is no tomorrow. Becomes fat, chlorophyll logged, can hardly move. And when that happens, it rolls into a ball and then makes a little cocoon, a nest for itself. And in the same way, the jiva also consumes, and then what? Somehow, that is one part of the jiva's life, like the silkworm, and the other part of the jiva's life is protecting itself from real and perceived predators. I don't know who is after me, therefore I am going to be in my own cocoon. This is also a very ancient example. The silkworm example comes in Shatashloki and some other works. So, fattened on bhoga, the jiva, like the jiva caterpillar, fattened on all kinds of bhoga, refuses to open its eyes and see that it is not the agent of action. So it builds for itself a cocoon with its own saliva, with its own spit or some secretion, which hardens, in time. It makes itself a cocoon in a way so that it doesn't have to face the reality. It's a very ancient example. So the jiva also likewise is in the Jagat, but also in his or her own personal Jagat, where doership and enjoyership or experiencership thrive. They thrive in the face of all logic, in the face of the karmic logic. And what is the karmic logic? You are not the author of the results of action. Oh, just because you say I have to believe you? All right, keep trying. How has trying to produce the result of action, how has it gone for you thus far? How much success have you had? And if you say I've had a lot of success, I will say I don't believe you. And then you will ask me, why don't you believe me? Then I'll ask you, then I will tell you, because if you had had success in gaining whatever you wanted, you would have never signed up for the 3-month course. Simple. Simple. Vedanta starts to look good when I am not able to help myself. That is when I seek help. That is when I need help. Nothing wrong, but that is the most people's trajectory. 99.999% of the people are not Ramana Maharshi. Okay, they are not people who just leave things because they have understood this. And even if Ramana Maharshi understood that in this life, that means in the previous life, he too had, like every other jiva, in some previous life, tried to make the result of action happen. A very frustrating affair. This law of karma. The law of karma is stated here in this 47th verse very, very beautifully and simply. You have free will, yes. And that free will is limited to doing a few things. If the free will does not include your overlordship over the results, you do not have a say over the results. And we saw the outcomes can be of 4 kinds. We already saw that. 4 kinds of outcomes are there. What are they? Better than what you expect, exactly what you expect, less than what you expect, and then opposite of what you expect. Therefore, what should we do to keep our sanity? We have to always train ourselves to expect the unexpected. That's all it is. Expect the unexpected. Know that things will always change. There is always a twist, there is always a curve, there is always a surprise. And so, if after studying this verse, I keep trying to manufacture the results of action, I'm either extremely dense or I'm extremely stubborn. There is only two options available. Either this is not going in. Why? Because of so many raga dveshas, and that is okay, that has to be corrected. There is a dense fog of atma ajnanam and it's not going through, and then that's okay. Or I know it and I won't do it because I have my own notions and I want to go my own way, even flying in the face of truth. And so here, this brings us to the very important question: if I don't produce the result of action, who is producing the results of my action? And the answer, of course, is what? Ishvara, the order. Ishvara as the order, not as the guy in the sky. Yeah, Ishvara as the order, as manifest as the law of karma, is producing the results of action, of my action. But why is Ishvara doing that? Because that's how it is. How do you know Ishvara is doing that? Because I am not doing that. I can tell, because whatever I want, I am getting the opposite of it. So I clearly am not doing that. And you are not doing that. I can see that you are not the result of you are not producing the results of my actions. So we have to drag in Ishvara here. This is what Pujya Swamiji called bringing Ishvara into our lives. We have to absolutely do this. Even if it looks inauthentic at first, and then there is no logical basis, because people want logical proof of Ishvara. There is only one proof of Ishvara. What is that? I ask the question, are you here? Okay, Ishvara is proven. That's all. Ishvara, non-separate from the self-evident, self-effulgent being that is saying, yes, that consciousness alone is the truth of Ishvara, is the truth of you. What more proof do you want? No, I want to logically arrive at Ishvara. Then you have to be related to these people who follow these two darshanas. Vainashika, Vaisheshika, Naiyayika, these are all the kinds of logicians and all these things. And logic is like a donkey. Like some of these donkeys here that belonging to the washer people, whatever you put on it, the poor thing will just keep on holding. You put one more sack of clothes, keeps on holding, keeps on taking. And so logic is like that. Whatever you put on it, it will take. Anything you can say. And so therefore, Ishvara not only cannot be derived logically, must not be derived logically, because it is outside of the scope of the pramana called anumana. What is anumana? Logic. Inference, logic. It is outside of the scope of artha, patti, anumana, etc. It is outside of the scope of that. It's like saying, my eyes are not working very well today, therefore I am going to see the flower with the help of my ears. How well is this working for me? And what will you say if you caught me doing this? What are you doing? Are you trying to put the flower in your hair? No, I'm just trying to look at what a beautiful flower this is. Why not bring it here? No, the eyes are not good today. So therefore, I'm trying to look at this flower. In fact, this year I think will work better. So let me just, see, this is my good ear. So I'm going to see the flower today with my ear. And what, wrong pramana. Wrong pramana is called dushta pramana, badly behaved pramana. Wrong pramana. Wrong pramana will not give right knowledge. So here Ishvara is the subject matter of which pramana? Tell me. Shabda pramana. Shabda pramana, not pratyaksha, not anumana, not anupalabdhi, not arthapatti, not upama. Shabda pramana. Veda is the pramana. Veda, Vedanta are the pramanas for revealing Bhagavan. And revealing Bhagavan as you also. Veda is the pramana. So if you operate the wrong pramana and say, oh, there is no proof Ishvara is there, and so therefore what? Therefore I'm not going to the temple. Why? Because, the person gets into a Vivekananda pose without being Swami Vivekananda. So this way, one shortchanges oneself, constantly second guessing, constantly being under the dilemma of doubt. Always, like the doubt is like a pair of pliers, and here is the dilemma. So the dilemma and the doubt just keep buttressing each other. Dilemma is there, and the doubt furthers the dilemma, and the dilemma makes you deeper into doubt. So one is, as they say, to use a cliche, on the horns of a dilemma, and becomes permanently paralyzed, not knowing where to go, not knowing what to do. And then if such a person is introduced to the Shastra Pramana, Shabda Pramana, all the same, Pramana in the form of the words of Veda, Vedanta, they may not take to it. They may say, no, these are just words. How can words give something that is not available for sight, that can never be made an object? They don't understand. So therefore, Shraddha, Bhakti, reverence, everything comes. Minting oneself as a devotee, everything should be there, and everything should be cultivated. All the qualifications must be cultivated in order to see the truth of this statement. The truth of this revolutionary statement, if we are able to see, then what happens? There is a big crack, like a big crack in a wall. There is a big crack in our do-worship. If we take this seriously, then we can instantly become karma yogis. Instantly we become karma yogis. How? Because we see that there is a big crack in our do-worship. I can keep on doing, but what I want may not happen. Therefore what? If I want something to happen, what should I do? Pray. That's all. No other option is left. Pray. Prayer is an action. See, that's an action. And then unacted upon wish leads to frustration. Prayer is an action. I pray and then let go of micromanaging the outcome. And I don't become a bully with regard to my own karma. That is the idea. Bhashya, we'll see. Now, Adi Shankara takes it somewhere else. He takes a slightly different look at this verse, which is possible because of the Sanskrit, the elasticity of the Sanskrit language. So he says, Karmani eva adhikaraha na jnana nisthayam tava, meaning Karmani eva, there is that eva. Only in karma, you are fit only for karma, not for the path of knowledge yet. He takes it this way. Do you see the difference? So we can take it both ways. What was the first way? You take it as a generalism. And as a generalism, you have a say only over your actions. You do not have the right or the authority or the privilege to produce the results of your action. The results of action are taken care of by Ishvara. You are not the author of the results of action. This is how we took it, generally speaking. Now, particularly addressing Arjuna's situation. And what is his situation? His refusal to fight. That is his situation. And then, while refusing to fight, what is he threatening to do? Become a sannyasi. Because he thinks that's the way out. That's the most honorable discharge from the military. So you can just go there and say, okay, I'm going to become a sannyasi, because that loophole is there for people who don't like to do what there is to do. So any swadharma problems, sannyasa starts to look very good. I don't like to do this. What will you do? I'll become a sannyasi. I don't want to do that. What will you do? I'll become a sannyasi. Oh, some terrible news and some terrible things are coming. Some terrible things are happening that I don't like. I'm being made to do what I don't want to do. What shall I do? Go shopping for orange dhoti. That's all it is. Orange sari, orange dhoti, go shopping. That's all there is left. When the going gets tough, the tough get going. There is a saying like that. When the going gets tough, the tough is indeed get going. And so therefore, what do I have to do? I have to understand this very well. And this verse also talks about the staying power. Because, hey Arjuna, you don't have yogyata. Yogyata means eligibility. You don't have eligibility for jnana nishtha, for gaining nitaram sthitihi. Nishtha means nitaram sthitihi. And eternal abidance in knowledge. It is not for you to gain right now. You are not fit for that. Look at where you are, sunken in the middle of the chariot. If I send you to an ashram to study, if I send you from Kurukshetra to Rishikesh, not very far, and if I enroll you in the next 3-month course, what will you do? You will be sitting and crying all the time. Crying, you will come to the dining hall. Crying, you will do that. Your heart will not be in this. You need a preparation. You need to prepare yourself. So right now you are not ready for full-time study. You are not ready for pursuing a life of jnana nishtha. So the only option, yes, I have told you that there are 2 lifestyles. One is refining your actions so that you are not focused on the results of action, and the other one is taking to a life of jnana after burning all the boats, all the bridges. You burn the boats and bridges. Why? So that you don't have to go back. This is what one story of the Brahmachari. Brahmachari crossed the river, maybe I think it was Narmada river, in a small raft. It was not exactly a boat, but a small makeshift raft. He had to go to the other side where there was an ashram. So in the ancient time story, so he kind of paddled with his hands, and on this raft he went to the other side, and then immediately the feeling was what? Oh, let me take the raft out of the water and then put it on the side of a tree or something so that it is dry, so that I could use it again. Then he says, why do I need this again? And then he asks for some kindling and then burns the boat. Burns the raft. Why? So that there is no possibility of going back. This is Jnana Yoga. Jnana Yoga means I'm either studying or teaching, nothing else I'm doing. You are not eligible for that. Your temperament needs a little more preparation. Then you will be eligible. When? By the time chapter 18 comes along, you will become very eligible. Don't worry. This is only what? Chapter 2. This is only chapter 2. Abhi bahut time baki hai. So you are not ready for this. This is his take, Lord Krishna's take. And then he says, Tatra cha karma kurvatah ma phaleshu adhikarah astu karma phala trishna ma bhoot. Okay, so now you don't have a right to the kevala jnanam. Means only fulfilling Atmajnanam, you do not have a right. Therefore, what? Therefore, I will teach you a way to evolve into a person who is ready for this knowledge. What is the first thing you have to do? Karmani, karmaphala trishna ma bhoot. May there not be for you a longing for the result of action. Trishna means longing, not Krishna. That's the one who is speaking, okay? Trishna, longing. A thirst. Trishna means longing. So may there not be a longing. Longing here is also, we have to translate longing a little more strongly, addiction. May you get over the addiction to trying to manufacture the results of action. May you get over the addiction to wanting certain outcomes. And that is what you need to get over. So therefore, I will teach you a way. And then he says, when should there be no longing? Kadachana, at any time. Kasyam chit, with regard to any action. With regard to any action, kasyam chit, kadachana, at any time with regard to any action, kasyam chit, kadachit api avasthayam, in any, under any state, under any situation, under any circumstances, may there not be a desire for the fruits. And then don't keep what is the word for it? Fantasizing about the results of karma. Don't keep on fantasizing how it would have been if it were like this, how it would have been if it were something different, how it would be if it was something else. Don't go there. Yada karma phale trishna te syat tada karma phala praptehe hetuhu syaha. So why should you not focus on the results of action? Because yada, when karma phale trishna te syat, when there is an addiction or a longing towards the fruit of action, tada, at that time, karma phala praptehe hetuhu syaha. You will become the nimitta for reaping the results of action. Let's try to explain this differently. The Bhashya is a little bit occluded here. Meaning occluded means not very easy to translate. So, in other words, if I don't give up the longing for karma phala, what happens? What happens if I don't give up the longing for karma phala is that I become addicted to it and I become the cause of karmas binding me. Why does the addiction to the results of action, how do the addictions to the results of action bind me into karma? They bind me into karma because I am anticipating the results of action frequently and excitedly and enthusiastically. But then what is happening? I am not getting what I want. Therefore, what am I doing? Again karma I am doing. Naturally, because the first time 1.0 fail, 2.0 fail, 3.0 fail. This is what life is like. Then success, oh finally, fourth time lucky, it's a charm, wonderful, got it. Fifth time, big zero, again, fail. If every enterprise is like this, then that means what? The more I anticipate karma phala, the more I do karma, hoping for a different result. The other day, a few classes ago, I gave you the definition of insanity. Who is the one who is insane? Who keeps doing the same thing and expecting a different result. And this is exactly what it is. The karma phala holic, The one who is addicted to karma phala keeps on doing karma, keeps on reaping the benefits of the karma or the debits of the karma, does not like the results of action, and initiates two kinds of actions, one for the original result and one to get rid of this karma phala, another action. So every action and result of action multiplies that action double. So the one is a mess, one is caught up in a mess of karma, karma phala. It begins very innocently enough. Oh, I'd like to build a house. What's wrong with that? Nothing wrong with that. I'd like to build a house. I'd like to have something. And then what? The thought comes, all right, and then you look for something. Either you build or you buy, and then whatever you want you don't get. Whatever you don't get causes even more frustration. And then everything is set up, but you don't get the loan. The loan is there, but the proper house is not there. House and loan both are there, but somehow there is a fear of taking the loan and also buying the house. All these things come in the way. And therefore what? I just have to do something in order to get rid of this feeling. So perhaps one will just buy something, that whatever is there at sight, because one was too late in deciding. The dream house became somebody else's dream house, not yours, it's already gone. And then so you just buy out whatever is left. It's a frustration purchase. You purchase out of frustration and then find that it has many things that are not ideal. First of all, vastu. It's not facing the right direction. It's not facing the right direction, and so there are all these pariharas. Some remedies are there. Put one mirror. That is the most common one that is suggested. Put one mirror facing a certain way. Put this mirror. And then put the mirror, and then it will be all right. And in a little more serious than the mirror is you buy some plant, bamboo plant in a saucer. You buy and you keep watering it every day, and then you keep looking at it, and then it will bring good luck and ward off the bad luck. See, because of warding off some real or perceived bad luck, mostly perceived because nothing has happened yet, then you are now, what are you doing? Now you are watering a plant. You see, you are taking care of a plant. Why are you taking care of a plant? Because that is extra karma. You are taking care of the plant in the hope that it will save you from all these defects, vastu defects. In Atlanta, in the United States, there is somebody's house I had to go to inaugurate their house. They had invited me. So I went there, and I was struck by the fact that the whole development, all the houses were one behind the other. I said, what kind of it? Looks like military barracks. Why is it constructed? Usually development means it will be in a spiral, or it will be a little bit, more artistic. Here it was just like this, just like the military barracks. I said, why is it like this? They said, oh, all the people want east-facing houses. And whether they are Chinese people or Indian people, both of them, east is a very auspicious direction. So all the houses were facing east. Even the reception office where you go, that also is eastern facing. Everything is east facing. And so like this. So for that they had to get some special permits and do all this. They had to do extra work to make it facing this way. And then they complain, oh, in the winter time we don't get enough sun. Well, that's what happens if it is east facing. You have to see the situation also. In the United States, like south facing is considered wonderful because you get lots of light and everything there. But here south, and especially south also is okay, but west facing nobody buys. West facing house nobody constructs. So in any activity, you do one thing and then there is a tail of things, like Hanumanji's tail. And this is a very nice example because Hanumanji went to Sri Lanka and to look for Sita, and after he found Sita, he was captured and brought in front of Ravana, the king. And Ravana said, "Hey monkey, what are you doing here? Who are you representing?" He told the truth. "I have been sent by my Rama and I have come in search of Mother Goddess Sita, and that is why I am here." And then Ravana said, "Let's have some fun with this monkey. Call the oil sellers and then bring some cloth." And so piece of cloth was put on the tail, and then they were going to soak that tail, which was tied up in a cloth, in oil, and set fire to it, so that the poor monkey jumps around and is upset trying to extinguish its tail. Just then, as this was being discussed as a possibility, and the first piece of cloth came to wrap up the tail, Hanumanji deployed his Garima Siddhi. What is Garima Siddhi? Becoming huge, big, and here was his regular sized monkey, the kinds we meet here, and then suddenly what happened? Huge. And that huge monkey had a tail which was, enough to put cable all over Rishikesh, underground cable, and plus more. Long tail. More and more cloth merchants were called, and they were weaving because they ran out of cloth, they ran out of oil, and after all this they were only able to wrap up half the tail. And this Ravana getting impatient because he wanted his entertainment. He said, okay, enough. Don't go for more oil and everything, and just light the tail. And then to just complete the story, Hanumanji jumped from roof to roof, setting the whole Lanka ablaze. And then he put his tail in the ocean and then went back. He taught them a lesson. But that is not the point. The point is, like Hanumanji's ever-growing tail, how much oil is needed, how much cloth is needed. So similarly, everybody's desires, everybody's penchant for producing karma phala is like Hanumanji's tail. There is a pun on tail. It is your tail, T-A-L-E, which is very much like Hanumanji's tail. And so you keep doing more and more karma, you keep getting more and more karma phala. So what if the first karma itself were not engaged in? This is the idea, but Arjuna is not there. Arjuna cannot give up karma. So what should he do? He should revolutionize his relationship to karma by cutting off the karma phala connection, which is not there, which is only there in his mind. He thinks he's the doer, he thinks he's the reproducer of action and result of action, but it is not the case. So that toxic connection between karma and karma phala, which leads him to be in samsara, which leads him to think he is producing the results of action, that connection must be first cut. Then why will I do karma? For antahkarana shuddhi. For being able to be without the things I love, for being able to be without the things I care for. This is the idea. So then, tada karma yada hi karma phala trishna prayuktah means engaged in. Whenever somebody is engaged in the fulfilling the longing of the karma phala, karmani pravartate, whenever somebody engages in action for the sake of the longing called karma phala, tada karma phalasya eva janmanaha hetu bhavet. So you not only don't get what you want, but you get one more thing that you don't want. What is that? Rebirth. Because all this karma phala stack on, and they are sent to a secret bank account called Sanchita karma. Sanchita karma is the cause of infinite numbers of births. So this Sanchita karma causing infinite numbers of births is there, and then what does that do? It just messes with the head, because each time one is born, and it messes with the head because one never gets ahead of this karma phala business. Next time one is actually born doing karma, and then what? Wanting karma phala, and then when I want karma phala, I do more and more karma creates more and more karma phala. Most of it is adrishta. Adrishta means invisible. Invisible means without even knowing what I have done, that results have gone to sanchita. So therefore, yada hi karma phala trishna prayuktah karmani pravartate tada karma phalasya eva janmanah hetuhu bhavet. So whenever somebody is engaged in action, because of the desire or the addiction to the results of action, then there is only one karma phala possible. What is that? Punarjanma. That is the only karma phala possible. And then, so it's the opposite of what we want. Yadi karma phalam na ishyate kim karmana dukkha rupena iti mate tava sangah astu akarmani akarane pritihi ma bhoot. Very beautiful conclusion to this. And so what does he say? He says that this is a depressing, he acknowledged, this is a depressing discussion, because you suddenly have found out, what have you found out? That you do not produce the results of your action. Somebody else, aka Ishvara, is in charge of the results of action. And this Ishvara not locally available, doesn't look like anywhere around. And so therefore, this is a very depressing thought. So if I do karma, if I continue to do karma knowing this, then what will happen? I'll go in a karma phala spiral, which will lead to endless births. Therefore, idea. What is the idea? Let's not do any karma. Just sit. Don't get out of bed, especially on a day like this. Yeah. Unless somebody is offering pakodas, don't get out of bed. Okay? Don't get out of bed at all. What's the point? Because if you do karma, what will happen? Karma phala will come. Did you want those karma phalas which come? No, because you are not in charge anyway. Why bother? Let me be Miss Apathy, Mr. Apathy. Apathy means doesn't even feel like getting up. And you make them lift the hand, it will go. As soon as you drop it, it will go down. Not interested in anything. Apathy is beyond depression, beyond despair. That is what is called apathy. No interest in the present circumstances whatsoever, no enthusiasm, no hope is left, and then so one becomes very hopeless. Arjuna is already hopeless. In the first chapter, he was already very hopeless, and this Arjuna, the Lord knows him well, says, do not come under the conclusion that non-action or deciding to not act is going to be beneficial to you. It's not going to be beneficial to you. Why? Because you will still get karma phala. Arre, by acting I will get karma phala. By not acting, how will I get karma phala? It's like saying to somebody, you will get a stomach ache. Why will I get a stomach ache? Because if you eat this, you will get a stomach ache. If you ate this, you will get a stomach ache. I haven't eaten this. No, oh, you haven't eaten? No, I didn't eat. I didn't touch this at all. Well, you still get a stomach ache. What kind of a logic is this? How can non-action give a result? But that is why in the 4th chapter, Bhagavan says, karma is very mysterious. Gahana karmano gatihi. The ways of karma are inscrutable, Arjuna. You don't know what is going on here. So if you don't do, you will still get results of action. Why? Because swadharma, you were born to do swadharma. Swadharma is something that cannot be given up. Unless in the face of knowledge it drops. Swadharma cannot be given up. Whatever is your duty, you have to do. Repeatedly, the Bhagavan Krishna will tell this at various points in the Bhagavad Gita. Swadharma can never be given up. Swadharme nidhanam shreyah paradharmo bhayav. It's better to die something doing something even imperfectly that is your own dharma than taking on something that somebody else is supposed to do, which you may or may not be good at. And so Swadharma is there, and your Swadharma actually, not only it helps you grow up emotionally, what does your Swadharma do? It helps other people. So if your Swadharma is to water the gardens, how does it help other people? The flowers grow and the other people are treated to greenery. If your Swadharma is to worship, is to conduct the worship at the temple, you are a Pandit, it helps everybody else to have a peace of mind. And so your Swadharma, you cannot be selfish and say, it's my Swadharma after all. I can put a pause on it. Like sometimes in the email, if supposing you are going away somewhere, so for 15 days you can make an automatic message come. Out of town. Please contact after so and so. So here can you do that? Out of commission. No. You can't do that. Because your Swadharma is helping other people. Your Swadharma is helping the environment. Your Swadharma is helping much, much more than you know. And you don't know how your Swadharma is helping, primarily because you have not properly understood your place in society. If you had an idea of your place in society, you would know that you are making a difference. You do not know you are making a difference. Why? Because you second guess yourself. You haven't accepted what you are doing. You haven't given whatever you are doing any kind of an importance. You are not doing what you are supposed to do well. You are doing it just slipshod, haphazard, half-heartedly. And so you have no idea that if you withdraw from this, there is actually going to be consequences. That is the karma phala. That is the consequences of other people waiting for your Swadharma and the Swadharma not being done and them being affected by it is the karma phala that you don't want. So the karma phala in the form of their curses and frustration in the immediate karma phala, and also the other karma phala of if you are not doing your duty and something happens to somebody as a result, then that papa will also be accrued to you. So therefore, don't say from henceforward, I am not going to be doing anything at all. So then, yadi karma phalam na ishyate, if you don't want karma phala, then if karma phala is not to be had, then karmana dukkha rupena iti, because why should I do karma which is in the form of sorrow? The results of karma is in the form of sorrow. So let not you think like that. And then he says, this introducing the next verse, he says, yadi karma phala prayuktena na kartavyam karma, katham tarhi kartavyam. If it is not if the karma is not to be performed with a view to gaining the results of action, how should the karma be performed? That answer is going to come in the next verse. The first definition of karma yoga is in the 48th verse. Yogastha kuru karmani Sangam tyaktva dhananjaya Siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva Samatvam yoga uchyate. Now mark the last part of it, the first definition of yoga, Samatvam yoga uchyate. That is the first definition. So what is Samatvam? Equanimity. Where will this equanimity come? Where will Samatvam? Sameness. Will the sameness come in the same kind of action to do every day? Is that what Bhagavan is saying? Absolutely not. It's not the same kinds of action or get the same results of action. That also is not possible. If you do the same thing, you may not get the same results. And then, what else? Where else is this samatvam? In the attitude in which I receive the results of action, let there be equanimity. How will this equanimity come? Samatvam yoga uchyate. This samatvam is called karma yoga. How will this equanimity come? Second line, siddhi asiddhi. Siddha siddhyoho. Siddhi, success. Asiddhi, failure. Don't fail to answer simple questions. So, asiddhi, failure. Siddhi, success. So, siddhya siddhyoho, with regard to the siddhi and asiddhi, what? Samo bhutva. Have equanimity with regard to siddhi and with regard to asiddhi. When success comes and when failure comes, be more or less the same. How can I be more or less the same? One is just completely opposite of the other. This is what has to be cultivated. This is the samatvam that has to be cultivated, and we saw how to do this already. How do we do this? By looking at the karma phala and then seeing that there are only 4 kinds of outcomes. I have to manage that which goes better and better. I have to manage that which goes well, and then the other 2, that which goes worse and worse, and that which I don't want at all of them will be automatically managed. Because when there is no hubris means pride, with regard to the first one, then there will not be a big fall with regard to the result of action. So, yogasthaha kuru karmani, firmly sitting in yoga. Which yoga? Karma yoga. Here, all the actions you must do. How? Sangam tyaktva, having thrown away the desire for the results of action. Hey Dhananjaya, calling him money bags. Okay? Yeah. So, then siddhya siddhyoho samo bhutva, being one, the same one in what? Success as well as failure. This is called samatvam. We have already talked about this a lot, so I can straight away go to Bhashya. Yogastha san karmani kuru. What for shall I do? Kuru karmani means do the action. What for? Kevalam ishwarartham. Tatra api Ishvaraha me tushyati iti sangantyakva. So this is beautifully said. So leaving aside all the desire for a particular outcome after initiating action, do it only for the sake of Ishvara. And Adi Shankara knows the human mind. There too one will have a small lurking desire. What is that? Ishvara should give me this. Ishvara should be happy with me. See, today with great difficulty I dragged myself to temple. So Ishvara should be very happy with me and Ishvara should reward me. Ishvara should give me a reward. And he illustrates this in so many words. So he says, first he says, Yogasthasan, being firmly rooted in yoga, karmani kuru, do the work. How? With the spirit, kevalam ishwarartham, only for the sake of Ishvara I am doing this. And then tatra api, even here in this context, Ishvaraha me tushyatu iti sangam tyaktva. Let Ishvara be pleased with me. Look how nicely I decorated. Look, I went and brought something. I went and brought material for Abhisheka in the rain. As though Bhagavan is waiting for you to do that. And then look, I did this for Ishvara's sake. Ishvara is definitely going to be pleased, more pleased with me than what? The person sitting next to me. Yeah, much more pleased with me. Why? Because I am doing this, I am doing that. Even that thought, let it not come. Because that is also what? Karma phala. A desirable action is a result of action, is what I have to cut the cords from between karma and karma phala. All the cords of attachment, all the cords of cause, effect, all these things, they have to be just chopped. And in chopping that is my redemption. In chopping that cord is my redemption. Otherwise, even though I have said, I have chopped it very nicely, don't worry. And secretly I say to Ishvara, please give me what I want. And there also again, we are not, when we do that, we are not on the path of karma yoga. Phala trishna shunyena kriyamane karmani sattva shuddhija jnana prapti lakshana siddhihi tad viparyayaja asiddhihi tayoho siddha siddhyoho api samaha tulyam bhutva kuru karmani. So phalastrishna shunyena. So being free of the results of action, and so being free of the results of action, the action which is done, kriyamane karmani, when the action is done, how sattva shuddhija jnana prapti lakshana siddhihi. So then what is siddhi? See, he never swerves away from Vedanta. This is so beautiful about Adi Shankara. Siddhi means success. So our definition of success will be what? Money, house, spouse, all these things. A very wonderful car to drive in, and better still even a driver to drive that car. All these things are siddhi. Somebody has seen to be already made it in life. But here Adi Shankara gives a different definition of siddhi. What is siddhi? Siddhi here, he says, is sattva shuddhija. That mindset which is born of, which is created through sattva, following a sattvic lifestyle which includes desirelessness. Cultivating the sattvic lifestyle, born of this sattvic lifestyle, this kind of a buddhi, and then what else? Jnana prapti lakshana. Jnana prapti lakshana means that the jnana prapti lakshana means that which is ready for the knowledge, that which is characterized by the attainment of knowledge, resulting from what? Having a mind free of raga dveshas. This is called siddhi. What is asiddhi? Asiddhi is the opposite. Tad viparyayaja asiddhihi. Failure is called asiddhi. Tayoho siddhya siddhyoho api samaha tulyo bhutva kuru karmani. Treating both of these as more or less the same, please do your actions. Please do your actions. Why? Kaha asau yoge yatrasthaha kuru iti yuktam idameva tat siddhya siddhyayoho samatvam yogaha uchyate. So why to do this? Because it is the yoga of action. Yogastha kuru iti yuktam. It is proper to say that this is how the actions should be performed. It's not what actions should be performed, it's how the action should be performed, and that is what is called equanimity. How the action is performed is from a place of giving up the penchant for the results of action. How is the result of action taken? With samatvam, equanimity. More is there to see about this. We will see this on the 27th. 27th, back to Gita classes and the regular schedule. Okay. So now the Sanskrit classes, when we are on this schedule, what time are they? You all know? No, not now. When we are on this 8 o'clock and 4 o'clock schedule,